Hi everyone, love from India. I'm very happy to be here today. Um, Today I'm going to speak about a phrase that as Ashtangis we have heard so many times, and I'm here to give you my own personal experience about this. I heard this many years ago when I came to my guru for the first time. That was in 2003, and they had just moved from the old Shala in Lakshmipuram to the new one in Gokulam. And I came and I got the name from a teacher from the US that came to Costa Rica, and there was no internet. I just said, I have to go see him, Patavi. And I knocked on his door, and he opened the door, and I just saw him and I almost fainted. And in the most loving way, he took me upstairs in the terrace, and we sat there in silence, and I was just like, oh my God, what is happening here? And then I told him, Guruji, I want to practice. I want to know what Ashtanga Yoga is. And he says, yeah, you come 3 o'clock, speak to Sharatji. Okay, so I spoke to Sharat, and Sharat says, yeah, you can stay. 1 month you stay. And I go and say, no, I cannot stay 1 month. I can only stay 1 week because I have my family, blah, 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 blah. And he says, sorry, you cannot stay. And I remember that day I went to a terrace in Mysore to cry so bitterly. And that was for me the beginning of my all is coming. I thought that just because I was the first Costa Rican in Mysore, then I would have this like welcome, please come and whatever you say. No way, Jose, no way. No, my all is coming was you have to come back, you have to wait, you have to be patient. You have to go back home to the other side of the world and arrange your things so you can come back here and be 1 month with me. That was my teacher's first approach. It was very hard for me. It was very hard because it also brought into attention that I had devoted my life to other material endeavors, and that I was not free enough to come to India as much as I wanted. But those were my conditions, and I had to work with them. So my all is coming also meant becoming creative enough to hold a family in Costa Rica, to be a householder, to raise children, to work, and also to travel once a year to see my guru here in India. My all is coming also included the opening of this Pandora box that I was sitting on, where I had so much suffering and trauma since my childhood, and somehow I was always fine. People would ask me, how are you? I'm fine. In Costa Rica we say pura vida. Yeah, pura vida is, yeah, everything is fine. And I was sitting on this volcano of pain, of grief, of trauma. And I thought that by doing yoga somehow that volcano was going to go away and just disappear. And no, I started doing my practice, and as we all fall in love with the practice, we think that it's only bliss, it's only peace, it's only love, and we feel these people around, and we know something different. India is so beautiful for a spiritual seeker that we may fall into that trap of thinking that the spiritual path is going to stay like that, like in the beginning of the love affair. No, in Ashtanga, at some point, and especially when we are doing our second series, things are going to start getting stirred up and pretty heavily stirred up, because all the tissues in our body hold the memory of those traumas. All the tissues in our body are going to slowly start detoxing everything that we have been holding on to, including the stress of being alive, including the feeling of being lost in life, of being abandoned, of being completely, how can I say, in the darkness. And all that darkness, our body has been holding on to it for years, for decades, and sometimes for lifetimes. Yoga is a karmic cleansing for us, and we actually come to the teachings of yoga when we have pursued the spiritual path for many lifetimes. We are just continuing our sadhana in this lifetime. So all is coming is not only about bliss and peace and beautiful people coming to you and India and no. All is coming is also about opening that volcano, opening that box full of monsters that we have been sitting on top. And maybe we did not have the tools to open it, but when we come to this method, and this is what I can speak about, with the presence of our teacher, with the daily practice, our sadhana, and with tons of devotion, we can start letting those ghosts come out. And the karmic cleansing is so powerful. We're going to be cleansing through dreams. We're going to be cleansing through relationships. We're going to be cleansing through happenings in our life. And because we come to this lifetime with a certain, certain conditions that come from previous lifetimes. And with our yoga practice, we're going to become more aware of all that information that is already in us. And we're also going to become more aware of how have we participated in this darkness. How have we been sources of violence, sources of pain and suffering for other people. And that's so hard to just understand. It's so painful. I remember as I was doing my second series, which I did for many years, and I was walking around so depressed and so in this feeling of completely devastation. It was devastation of who I thought I was, of all these lies that I had told to myself about how a woman should be, what she should do, how a mother should act, how a wife should act, all these lies. And just being aware of them was one of the hardest things for me. Thanks to my teacher and thanks to his mercy and his love, I could just go through that phase. And also, instead of blaming other people, oh, you did that to me, then I am entitled to hurt you. No, just taking in that responsibility of knowing you have not acted in integrity. And then yoga slowly started putting things into perspective. And ultimately, I was able to thank all of those who caused me pain, because it was because of them that I could reach these teachers. It's because of them that I had this longing in my heart to come to India and find my teacher and study with my teacher and keep coming here no matter what the price was, no matter what the sacrifice was. That all is coming is a deeper all is coming, is this tide, this tsunami of everything we have been in denial about will start opening slowly. And it brings so much humility, it brings so much awareness that we are these little specks of dust in the feet of our Guru. That's all we are. And it's because of their mercy and their love and their commitment to their own path that we are able to open our own demons and to go deep into the fear, into that space that we have never actually been able to visit before. In my case, I had no idea even that it was there. I was living on top, so much superficiality and so much denial. And this all is coming is this tsunami of bliss that comes from our practices and our time in India with our teacher, with so much grief and so much anger and also so much fear of leaving behind everything we identified ourselves with. The personality, the ego, the conditioning that we grew in, and just dropping all that. It feels like we are becoming absolutely vulnerable and absolutely so open. It's scary. It's really scary. The all is coming. It's about understanding that even though we feel scared and vulnerable and open, if we have this connection to our Guru, we're going to be fine. We're going to be fine. And this practice is going to take us deeper and deeper and deeper. Deeper into our own nature, deeper into who we really are, which is something that we have never even imagined. That it's not possible to conceive in the realm of conditioning. Conditioning wants us to be as stranded from that reality as possible. And that's why it's trapping us into these images of ourselves, it's trapping us into these relationships which are sick, in this identification, misidentification. Yoga and any spiritual path eventually is there for us to understand that we are something that we have never imagined, that we are everything that we have been looking for. It's all inside, it's all within. We just need this support from our spiritual community, from our friends, from our partners, and of course from our teacher, to be able to just dive deep. And yeah, for that we need to let go. We need to let go of many ideas and many concepts about who we are, or who we are supposed to be, or how we're supposed to look, or how should we live, and many people have many ideas about that. I'm sure of that. And we have to be courageous enough to say, thank you so much, but this is your idea of who I am. Who I am is who I am. And creating space for that in our lives it's intense. I can tell you that yoga is not only about achieving the physical postures, which are very beautiful and have, of course, very important effects in our mind, in our emotions, in our physical presence, but yoga is the way into a new perspective, into a new awareness, into a new dimension, and for that we need to let go of the previous, I call them chains, and that's the grace of the teacher. The grace of the teacher is showing us that there's something else that we can long for, and that is real, that is not a dream, that is actually so much more real than what we thought we were. And it's blissful, it's painful, it's devastating, it's pure joy, it's, I don't know how to describe it, it's everything we've been looking for, and at the same time it's everything we are scared of. And the all is coming is do your practice. Shanti is coming. Do your practice. You take practice. No problem, Shanti is coming. Those were the words that resonate more in my mind from Patavi Joyce. You take practice. Shanti is coming, no problem. And the Shanti is of knowing ourselves in the path of realization, the path of love, the path of peace, the path of true joy, not telling more stories and trying to just make ourselves look good, or blaming others for whatever negative happening. No, it's just taking responsibility and saying, I'm ready, I really want to go for this, please help me, please send help, and I'm listening. Yoga is about listening, and listening to that presence that our teacher is manifesting for us, and that is also in ourselves. Thank you so much. Do your practice, all is coming. Namaste.